sounds like you had a great time in the club. So, is there any particular memory or like an incident that stands out to you as your favorite memory that you would be willing to share with us?
Um, there are so many. So I mean, one thing that I can think about is the FOSSTER conference, the first FOSS conference that we hosted in Amritapuri campus.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that was the one of the best times I've had um, in the club. Apart, I mean, along with everything else that we did, of course, but the conference was a really huge thing for us because that was the first time we were, hosting a conference. And back in the, when I was attending college, clubs would not be allowed to host any conferences or any extracurricular activities. Of course, FOSS is an extracurricular activity. It's not a part of your coursework. And uh, the the engineering department, the IT department or computer science department, mechanical engineering department, they hosted events, and they hosted activities, and the university itself as a whole hosted the Amrita Kalotsavam and all of those uh, programs. But the club itself, any club for example, is not allowed to host as such. So we were, I think, to the best of my recollection, I might be wrong, we were the first club to host a nationwide event without, not without the support. That is wrong to say, but um, by on our own, basically. Like
Oh,
it was not a department hosted event. It was not. It was hosted by Amrita University, but the club, FOSS club, took the full responsibility, and they were from planning the event to getting funding to hosting it, from end to end. It was all done by students with the support of all the faculty and teachers. And
wow.
I still
Okay.
remember, yeah, and I still remember the time when that people were saying, like, you, what you're trying to do is crazy, you're not going to achieve it, it's not going to happen. But we made it happen through immense amount of grace and immense amount of passion from all students, everyone. So this involved everyone, not just people who were in the amFOSS, or at that time it was just called the Sun Club, I think, or the FOSS Club. It was not called amFOSS. That is a newer term. But it was not just the members of that club, it was the support of everyone around it also. uh, Hosting, accommodation, food, people who had nothing to do with the club, students of my batch and our seniors and juniors, they came in and helped, and then we got it done. It was, I think, one of the most memorable time that I had, I think, from the club.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. So now that you've mentioned the Foster conference, right? Did
FOSSTER
I get that
conference,
right?
yeah. It
Okay.
was called FOSSTER, FOSSTER, FOSSTER. And in
Foster.
2009 was the first time we hosted it. And I think there was one other time it was hosted, I think, after that. I don't remember though.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, like, now that you've mentioned it, could you elaborate more on like what exactly went into the planning and scheduling of this entire event? Like, how did you all make it happen? Did you all go through a particular
So,
process?
no, I mean, everyone in this was new to it, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we had no
Okay.
idea about how to host a conference. There was no like online resources on. There's not like a guide that was there to say, okay, this is the way you host it. So what we did, I think, if I remember it right, is we had each department, like accommodation was one department, agent or the overall planning was one department, and then registration was one department, and we had another
Okay.
department for accounting and finance, who would take care of all the budgeting needs and all that. And we had a promotional team, we had a graphic design team, and we had a team who would uh, design content and reach out to um, potential speakers. We had one team for that. We had one team who would take care just about meals, like food for the
Mm-hmm.
conference. because people would fly and come from different parts of uh, the country. It was not just for Amritapuri students, it was a nationwide conference, and we went full blast on it. And until
Awesome.
I remember one particular event, until the so we had the sponsorship guide where we would send out sponsorships to potential companies to sponsor the event, because we had to cover the cost somehow. There
Mhm.
was speakers where they would we had to cover the flight charges for speakers, and some companies were good enough that they or great enough that they would sponsor their employees to go and fly out. But there are many speakers who could not afford that. We had lots of student speakers. There was one person I remember. He's called the Kerala farmer, and he was a lot into FOSS. I don't know if he's still, but uh, and he was a farmer. He is a farmer somewhere in Kerala, and then he came and gave a talk. So we had so many people, and until I think the last moment, we did not have enough funding to make the program happen. We did not think that it would happen, and you know something happened behind the scenes, that uh, one fine day, the Sun Microsystems, the company that I was interning for, and the engineering, or the head of the Bangalore um, engineering team, I guess, or the VP or some, I don't remember what his title was at that time. Anyway, he reached out and said, hey, we want to sponsor at the platinum level, which was the top tier sponsorship. And then that was, I mean, we got other sponsorships which were smaller amounts, but we had a deficit of some amount. So that
Mhm.
made it happen. And it was a huge amount of grace that it happened, basically. And everyone just came together. Each department was independently run. They got they got the say on how they are going to do it. And then each department had a student head, and they had a faculty head. So there would be a faculty that's responsible from the university side, and there's a student who's responsible from the student body side. I don't want to say the club side, because not every student was a club. There are a lot of people who are really good at managing stuff, and I knew my classmates really well by then, and then they had specific set of skills that we were able to use for for them to help us. And it was an overwhelming success to host that conference.